Alright, well, welcome back to Algebra 2. It has been a while. Your quizzes are graded. They should be in Skyward by the time you are reading this. In fact, your check-in question today was to either check Skyward or to check Google Classroom to see your grade on those quizzes. The answer keys for those quizzes have been posted also, along with the answer key to the multiplying, dividing, rational expressions quiz. So please look over those. Those are going to be the best way to study for the test per the usual. The test is going to be coming up here in about 2 weeks or so. Obviously, by now, you all know the news that we will not be going back to school. Obviously, that's going to change some of the plans. One, we won't have a final in this class anymore, so the quizzes and tests will be your final scores. And it's also going to kind of change our time frame of how this is all going to work. So hopefully it doesn't affect it too much, but if you have any questions on this, please feel free to email me. Let me know. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Today, we're going to kind of get a review, but also get used to seeing all rational expression problems together, because this unit is going to cover adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and then solving rational expressions. And it's going to be important to understand, just by looking at the question, what I am expecting you to do, because this is something that even when I taught this topic in class, students struggled with. They forgot, okay, when do I need to find the least common denominator? When do I not need to find the least common denominator? And so we're going to kind of talk through a couple examples. I'm going to go through 2 examples on this worksheet, and then it's going to be for you to do the rest for homework. All right? So if you have any questions, again, email me. That's the best way we can get through this, the best we can to be able to learn as much possible before you get to your next class, your next math class next year, wherever that may be. Like we talked about, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing. So a couple things you're looking for. If you see in between the fractions a dot for multiplication or a division sign, obviously for division, you do not need to find, least common denominator, okay? So no LCD on those whenever you see a dot or a division sign. If you see a plus or a minus in between the 2 fraction lines, so like for example here, in between my 2 fractions, I have a plus in between, I need to find LCD. And you're going to notice on this quiz, just like whenever we have this test, I'm going to have these mixed up. They're not going to be, okay, here's 4 adding, subtracting problems, now go ahead and do these. Okay, now here's 4 multiplying, dividing, do not find the LCD on these and solve. They're going to be mixed up, and we got to kind of recognize how we're going to go about it. So let's go over this problem and this problem, and the rest will be left for you. So the first thing I look at in this top left question up here, I look at the sign in between, and there's a dot, meaning I have a multiplication problem. Over here in my cheat sheet, I have multiplication, do not find an LCD. So the first thing I'm going to do, if possible, is factor. So 6, obviously I cannot factor at all. But x squared minus 9x plus 20, there's a good chance I can factor that. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my 2 parentheses. X squared minus 9x plus 20. So first 2 spots have to multiply to x squared. So that's x and x. I have a plus in the back, a minus in the front. So since it's a plus in the back, it means I have 2 of the front signs. So I have 2 minus signs. And then my back spots need to multiply to 20 and add to 9. Well, that's simply 5 and 4. Same thing up here. I can go ahead, I'm going to change the red here, and I can factor this. 5x minus 25. Well, it's a 2-term. The first thing I always look for when factoring is what's in common. I can pull out a 5 there, leaving me x minus 5. And same thing down here. 2 terms. What's in common? Well, 3 is in common. So now everything is factored completely. Remember, with multiplication, It's just one long fraction line. So whatever is up top, which means these three terms right here, can cancel with anything down below, which are these down here. So up top, I have an x minus 5 and an x minus 5 down here. I have a 3, which, yes, 3 is not the same as 6, but 3 goes into 6 2 times. And I believe that is all I can cancel. So up top, let's go blue. What do I have left? Well, I have a 2 left here and a 5 left there. So 2 times 5 is 10. Down below, I have an x minus 4 left and an x minus 2 left. On several of your quizzes over multiplying and dividing, several of you foiled out x minus 4, x minus 2. We do not want you to do that. The reason why is we're going to be using that x minus 4 and x minus 2 down the road to find x-intercepts and y-intercepts and so forth. So we want to leave them as their factored form. So this is my final answer. Again, do not foil any touching parentheses on these. So again, that's multiplying. Real quick, not going to solve it, but I want to remind you on this one right down here. So I put a box around that division. So the 15x squared over 45x to the third divided by 5x to the sixth over 9x to the fourth. Remember, with division, you're going to keep your first fraction the same. You're going to flip my second fraction, and I'm going to change the sign to a multiplication. So this would look like 15x squared over 45 x to the third, because I keep my first fraction the same. Flip my second, so 9x to the fourth comes up top. 5x to the sixth goes down below. And then finally, I change my sign from a division to multiplication problem, and you go from there. All right. Now let's come back over here. On 3 over y plus 5 plus y over y squared plus 7y plus 10. When I look at this problem, the first thing I notice, again, is this plus sign in between my fractions. Plus sign, when I look at my cheat sheet, plus or minus, I need to find my LCD. Well, before I do that, I have to make sure my denominators are factored completely. So I can factor this one to y plus 2, y plus 5. Again, first two spots need to multiply to y squared. Well, y times y gives me y squared. I have a plus sign in the back, so I look to the front and I have 2 of those. Therefore, I have 2 plus signs. And my back spots have to multiply to 10 but add to 7, which 2 and 5 multiply to 10, but they also add to 7. So I have it factored. Next up, let's find my LCD. Well, when you're looking for your LCD, the first thing you're doing is whatever's in your first fraction, the denominator there, included. So I've got a y plus 5. In my second fraction, the only thing I have down in my second denominator that I don't have in my first is y plus 2. So now I have my LCD. All right. The next thing we have to do is we have to multiply each fraction, top and bottom, by whatever we're missing to get the LCD. So let's go pink here. In my first fraction, I got a y plus 5 in the denominator. All I'm missing to get to this is y plus 2. So I'm going to multiply top and bottom by y plus 2. Over here, my LCD is y plus 5, y plus 2. That's exactly what I have. So technically, I don't have to multiply by anything, but just for showing you guys, I'm going to show you that really I'm just multiplying by 1. So on my first fraction, I'm taking 3 times y and 3 times 2. Well, 3 times y is 3y. 3 times 2 is 6 over my LCD. Plus, over here, all I'm doing is taking y times 1 is y. And now that my denominators are the same, now I can combine like terms up top. So I've got 3y plus y is 4y plus 6 over y plus 2, y plus 5. And there is my final answer. So again, what your goal is here is to complete the rest of this worksheet. And I know we've talked about this material, but by having given this test several times, students always forget, when do I find an LCD and when do I not? So hopefully this cheat sheet right here is going to help you remember when you need to find an LCD and help you complete this worksheet. This worksheet is due at the beginning of class on Tuesday. All right, do not turn in late. It's going to be your check-in form, so it's going to be due in the first 5 minutes of class on Tuesday. We will not have a quiz on Tuesday. We're going to start learning the new material of over solving rational expressions on Tuesday, which will get us on point to get the test the following week. I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. Make sure to check the answer key over the quizzes for multiplying, dividing, adding, subtracting rational expressions to see what you did incorrect and what you can do better next time. Have a great day.